Hello, everyone. The latest episode of the DFS Down Under show is now live here on a Wednesday evening here in Old Hobart Town. Schmaffo 10 is back, bigger than ever. Big Hef is with me for another show. Lots of things to get through to Hef, so quick intro from you, Hef.
I didn't think we'd get to this stage, Smitho, and like that you've substituted Johnny English in. I'm really looking forward to doing the show with him. You turned on the dial up tonight, Smitho. We're all good to go. That's all anyone wants to know.
I've opened up the wallet today. The credit card was produced at a particular store down at Tandy Electronics. Can't believe they still operate here in Hobart, and just purchased a old Pentium 100 here just to get us through for another show here, Hef. But as I said, big show going tonight, lots in the agenda, and we can't get through the agenda without going through Smaffo's 2 thumbs up, which is back finally after a disappointing week last week. So without to it, let's go through these big slates from last week, and we start here on Friday night. Lovely big slate here, which was the Collingwood and Port over in Adelaide, and obviously Collingwood got the job done there over in Port. We had a lovely big contest, 40,000 on Draftstars, and in with the money was a relatively new player here to the the DFS community in Humpty 84, who put a few entries into this particular one and took down the chocolates. Hef, let's have a look at this particular lineup as it comes up on the screen here. Talk us through Friday night last week.
First thing I want to mention is poor old Knackers 1982. He's of our vintage with that username, the single bullet, and he was leading at the final siren and got done on adjustments. If that's not the worst way to lose, I don't know what is. So unlucky for Knackers, but that was a really nice team from Humpty. Interesting that Roughhead in his back line. Westhoff went berserk. Really feasted with Taylor Adams going off with Trelaw in his lineup. Good to see Sidebottom back in form. Jamie Elliott. That first half, like all the Pies forwards seem to. He's stormed onto the scene a bit, Humpty, hasn't he?
Yes. No, I actually just reached out on Twitter and found him, and he's obviously following me back. And is one to look out for. So if any of those guys out in the DFS community looking for some rising stars, Humpty 84. And I kind of tweeted out too, go for the quad ruck stack, and that nearly worked. He's actually got the triple ruck stack there for the win. So well done, Humpty 84, for taking down Friday night. Then we went on to Saturday, the big Saturday 5 slate. We've finally got a nice big slate in, and Whiz Bang 42 taking the win on big Saturday. Hef, as it comes up with his lineup on the screen there, very good performance. Talk us through what happened here for Whiz Bang.
Whiz went bang, didn't he? Now, this is a Hobart boy, Smatho. We've mentioned him on the show before. We're keeping the cash down here in Tassie. Whiz Bang only had 2 teams. We do. We need to upgrade the NBN down here, but that's something we touch on far too often on this show. 2 teams for Whiz Bang, and if you have a look at that winning lineup there, Darling, Yo, Gaff, Shuey, you reckon he wasn't charging home that last quarter? Jack Darling bobbed up and kicked a goal and nearly put it beyond doubt, and then Elliot Yo kicked a goal late as well. And that was all she wrote. Poor old Big Hef was out there like a shag on a rock with a quarter to go in front with no one left, and limped into 11th place. But Whizbang also put a team in the Brisbane-Sydney $15 game. One team in there took that one down as well.
Oh, that would have been a super Saturday for our Whizbang.
Indeed. Oh. So if you're out there, sort of, some people don't like the multi-entry guys getting all the chocolates. Well, Whizbang just showed you it's very possible. And Knackers the night before, if you're only putting 1 or 2 teams in, you've still got a big chance if you get the right lineup. So one for the little guys there, Whizbang.
Look, obviously the little guys start with me with a single bullet. Old Schmaffo here, and I actually went pretty well. Won the 80. If I had the lovely good West Coast stack, I just around 50, 60 points short. Then let's move on to Sunday, and the old Sunday slate, all 3 gamer, and then was taken out by one of our favourite DFR members of the ranking site, Rexel 9. Great performance here, a score of 921, taking down the Sunday slate. Hef, no one saw the show last week, but we did talk up to some mini stacks in here on the Sunday. So talk us through what Rexwell did here on the Sunday.
He just went all north and then whacked some cats in there as well. And he had a monster lead going into that last game there, the Crows and Freo. And they got close at the end there, Broady, a couple of teams, but they never really looked like chasing him down. I think he's a North Melbourne boy, Rex, and he's had a lot of pain all season, but they've paid him back in spades. Cam Zurha took out he's got a very Colin Sylvia, Brent Maloney-like head, Cam Zurha. He put Liam Jones out of commission down there at the forward pocket and come off looking like he'd been in kickboxer or something, but he got back out there and turned up. Taylor Garner, he was a great player at 5K. Cam Guthrie, how well's he going? So he's got 46 centre-bounce attendances. He's only played two games.
Yeah, two. Games. Second game back. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's just all sorts of time through the middle. And Jack Zeebel's keeping that midfield time going as well. So that's a really nice-looking team by Rex, and good on him. Nice one.
Yep. Deserve the cash. Look, before I give my 2 thumbs up, I do have to touch on some sneaky shout-outs here. Obviously, at the Wells Fargo contest for Draftstars Golf last week, we had old Dr. Data, DP Woodford, just popping up and taking the win there for the DFS Golf. He actually had 5 golfers in the top 13 on the leaderboard. So when you have all those golfers at the pointy end, you're bound to be in the cash. So Schnicky, well done to you. And also to DFR member Brento. He was up and about on Thursday night when he saw the Rabbitohs Broncos game. And yes, he jumped on the Twitter to say, look, third was great. And then the adjustments, the NRL adjustments, the most pleasurable and heart-aching thing in sport is getting the NRL adjustments in DFS. And he managed to jump to position number 1. So a little sneaky shout-out for you too, Brento. I'm sure you're a big fan of the show, which you are. But I have to go give my 2 thumbs up. Avocado, you already put the 2 thumbs up to Whiz Bang, our little local boy. Well done to you, buddy. I'm keeping my 2 thumbs up for you. That was well-deserved. Big Saturday slate for you. Well done. 2 thumbs up from Schmaffo. All right. Big show. Let's go through. I want to touch on Thursday. Thursday, obviously, the NRL continues with their single game. We've got the Magic Round, Hef. Nice little Magic Round. You know what the Magic Round is?
No. I haven't you're about to tell me.
Never be done in the AFL. It'll be so bureaucratic. But the Magic Round means that Suncorp Stadium, Brisbane, are going to host all 9 fixtures in round 9 of the NRL. Every single game, one after the other. So one on Thursday, couple on Friday, Saturday slate, Sunday slate. All teams are in Brisbane for the Magic Round. So make sure you keep an eye on the DFR website for Corey Francis. Beautiful projections and write-up for Thursday's matchup, which will be the Titans going against the Sharkies. Titans, as typical Brisbane teams, are not going too well.
Hang on.
Yeah.
No Broncos Thursday night.
No Broncos.
Oh,
no
Broncos.
No, it is the Titans. You got to look at the Titans and the Sharkies. So, yeah, bonus. But as I said, all the games are in Brisbane, so don't look at that just thinking, why the hell are in Brisbane? Every game. So, as I said, I'm not sure what happened in the AFL, but good on to the NRL for doing that. Now, also on Thursday night, locking in a couple of hours later is the next PGA Tour event at the Byron Nelson in Dallas, Texas. Big contest coming up for DFS Golf this week with the 1 week before the PGA at Bethpage. Draftstars have put up an $8,000 contest. Obviously, DraftKings with their massive $500,000 as well. But look, I'm very excited for the DFS Golf there for us, Hef.
The golf, yeah. I've seen a bit of talk about the pricing, Smatho. We've got some new prices, do we? New pricing structure?
Look, I'll just there's been some refinement of the DFS salaries, and I'm happy for Draftstars to listen to the community, and fantastic result for us DFS community just to get into the Draftstars Golf. It means that we can pick more players in our teams, Hef.
Oh, nice. And are you? I've heard a couple of little birdies tell me you're trying to claim the impetus for a few of these changes, Smatho.
Oh, no.
Is that true?
No, it's not true, Hef. I just
No?
simply put out a statement and a poll, and I let the little birds just chip away, the little tweets chip away. I'm not claiming it. I am applauding what Draftstars have done. And hopefully, obviously, this week at the Byron Nelson, next week at the PGA, we're going to have an absolute feast of DFS golf next Thursday. So make sure you check out my article on the DFR website. Got a couple of nice little sneaky plays. Little draft star values at the end there were quite successful last week, so keep an eye on those as well. And obviously keep an eye on the Dragons picks. Nearly nailed a couple last. Well, no, hang on, not myself. Sorry, the Dragon nearly nailed a couple last week, so keep an eye on that. But yeah, big news as well next week. Guess who's back?
Who's back?
JK's back.
Tell
a friend.
We got another.
Tell a friend.
Podcast, are we?
Yes, the mic is back. Tuesday night, we're going to pour through the field for the PGA Championship at Bethpage. The DFR podcast is back. Make sure you tune in. Hopefully by Wednesday morning, I'll record on Tuesday night. And big contest coming up next week. I'm excited. I was excited for Masters, and it's just come around so quickly for the PGA Championship. I love the schedule from PGA Tour this year, which is quite heft. But you wouldn't know a thing right now. So just, yeah.
I do know I'm listening to that, though. You know I'm not a huge golf man, Smatho, but I always listen to those pods. When you and Jay start talking, it's not just golf, it's all things DFS, really. You can take some of these snippets. If you don't play golf, it doesn't matter. You can use it in AFL or NRL or whatever you're playing. There's always a ton of information in those pods, so I'm looking forward to that, Smatho. Make sure you get all the goods out of Jay once again.
Feel free to give me a little tweet at Smatho10 or at JK123X and ask some questions for next week, and we'll certainly get it onto the pod next week. So next week. But actually, Thursday night, make sure you get your teams in for the next contest. But enough of that about that. Let's get into your repertoire, Hef. Footy. Let's start here on Friday night. We've got the Sydney Swans playing Essendon up at the SCG. Currently got a line around 11.5 to Essendon prior to teams coming out. So that might change with the teams coming out. 166.5 is the total points. The weather's looking pretty good, so there's no rain forecast there. And Draftstars have come with a single slate of $40,000. Moneyball's also come with an $8,000 slate. We lost Harry Cunningham last week with a torn abductor, which is a pretty shame. I love Harry's work this year as his salary and also in my little season-long fantasy. I'm kind of gutted for him there. Buddy Franklin's missed the last couple, and he's still questionable with his hammy. I'm not sure he'll get up. Probably will. Could be the last chance saloon here for the Swans, so they might throw him in. At the Bombers, Pro Orazio Fantasia was laid out last week, and we're not sure if he's going to come back at all. So let me set up the game for you, Hef, being on Friday night, and what does the DFR resources say? All right, I've done my research here, Hef. I've spent the last couple of days, on the bench, on the pine, being in the doghouse. So I thought, no, I need to be professional here tonight, Hef. All right. Both teams are very similar in fantasy sports, fantasy points against in all categories. Overall, the middle of the pack for points scores against, stingy for the backs, and the forwards are so-so for point scoring, okay? But we can target the rucks here. These are the top 8 in fantasy against for rucks. And now the mids are starting to be a bit leaky at the Swans. There were 4 tons last week in the last 5 rounds, which means they're actually the 4th worst team for conceding 100 points, the Swannies, all right? Reflects the ladder position, okay? In the game back in 2018, there was only 2 tons last year. One was Heppel, and the other one was David Myers, of all people, all right? Yeah. So they were stingy, but I think the electric band is just starting to stretch out a bit here. So there's your resources, Hef. DFR website. Tell me what your thoughts of this particular slate.
I want to get stuck into this game, Smatho, but are we going to talk about the live final now? Are we going to leave that to a bit later?
No. We're not. No.
We're not talking about we'll leave it till later?
I want to hear your stuff because your stuff is good, all right?
Stay tuned.
Tell us, Chaz. No.
Well, you tell me you've got some info on the live final that I want to hear, but how about we'll get through these games and then we'll spill. You're going to spill some beans on the live final.
Some beans. Good. All right. Sounds all right. Okay, we've got a deal.
Right. All right. I'm big on the Bombers here. All right.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to getting into the Bombers. I've got a lot of Bomber mates who will be closing their eyes and just, They just don't want to hear about it. They've been tortured for too long. But I think the Bombers are just about good things here. What about this home ground advantage for the Swans, Smatho?
Oh,
if you've got season tickets for the Swans, how many games would you expect to go along and see them win it there?
I don't think I've sung a Swanee song in a long time if I've got a seat there, for sure.
You'd like to see them win at least once on their home ground, wouldn't you? I don't think it's going to happen again. What's going on there? Do they not play the ground very well, or they've just been hopeless there for it's going on a year and a half now? There's no Gary Rowan at Sydney this year to kick one off the goal line and steal the game away from the Bombers. Remember, the Bombers had him on toast last year and somehow lost, which...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Gary Rowan took that mark in the goal square. That's right, yes. All right, yeah.
I think they'll go one better here, so I'm all in on the Bombers.
All right. As we start my lineup builds, I start with the rucks. So it's not real great heft, unfortunately. It's bell changes versus Sinclair. And then we've got some little forwards who do a little ruck out work as well. And then they're there as well. So I'm actually kind of devo that Ali doesn't get ruck status because he actually had the second most hit outs for the Swannies last week. But anyway, he's down back. So who do we look here? The rucks. I'm not quite sure here. We're going to throw them up in the air and whatever lands we'll get.
Yeah. I'm not locking myself into any one ruck in this game, but I'm going to lean to Bill Chambers at 10K. I know he's very hard to trust, Bill Chambers, but he's a big unit.
Yeah.
He's a lot bigger than Sinclair. Steph Martin had his way with Sinclair last week. Sinclair's still going to get his own points around the ground, but if Bill Chambers can't get 80 against Callum Sinclair, then what is he even doing there? So lean to Bill Chambers over Sinclair. I think you can play Joey Danaher in the ruck if you want to. He's only 9,000, especially if you're high on the Bombers. And I think Joey might get amongst the goals. And then Sam Reid's the other ruckman. I'm not really keen. Sam Reid. I really like the Bombers' key backs in Hooker and Hurley. Not too many big forwards get hold of them, so probably not the slate to play too much Sam Reid, I wouldn't have thought.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's look at the defence then. And, the Swannies are getting decimated down back now. Last man standing here. There's no McVeigh, there's no Cunningham, there's no Smith, there's no Grundy. All out now, so everyone's jumping on the Jake Lloydie train for the season-long stuff. Your super coach and your Ultimate Footy and your AFL Fantasy, like, get him in because there's no one else down there. But can we fire him up in DFS, old Jakey Lloyd?
Yeah, well, the avocado on the show last week, he came on and tipped Lloyd unders, and it seemed like everyone sort of zeroed in on that Lloyd unders bet last week. And he's still got 90-odd in very wet conditions in Brisbane. It's going to be a dry night in Sydney. You'd think he's just going to run around getting as much ball as he wants. Harry Cunningham's not there to sneak a few of the little cheapies. 16K for a bloke that gets a lot of 120s this season. It still seems a pretty reasonable price, Jake Lloyd. Only thing I'd be worried about is if Essendon sent someone like a Guile, is that his name, Matt Guelphy? That shocking haircut, he might go and run around with him maybe. Maybe we look at who's going to replace Harry Cunningham. Have you ever played an Irish bloke called Colin in your lineups before, Smatho?
Yeah. No, not an Irish bloke and not a Colin bloke. Maybe Zach Tilley, but not Colin.
Colin. It doesn't scream fantasy gold when your name's Colin, does it? But apologies to all the Collins out there. But I did notice he got 40 touches in the NEFL a couple of weeks ago, Colin. Colin O'Riordan we're talking about.
But this is the witch hat league, the NEFL.
Saw what happened to Isaac coming last week off some great NEFL numbers. But he has scored in the 80s before in AFL level, Colin, last year.
Okay. All right.
He plays that halfback role. He can get involved in a bit of chippy. Maybe they release Mills. Now, I don't know if this was coincidence last week, but Mills was having a stinker. It was very wet, so it wasn't really the game for easy points, but he was doing nothing, and then Harry C. ripped his groin, and off he went, and then Mills actually worked his way up to high 70s in the end. Maybe that was a coincidence. Maybe he got some little role change when Harry went off. Don't know. And then Jackson Thurlow's the other one who has not really come on at all since he sort of burst on the scene for Geelong a few seasons back, but he's another guy in the mix to sort of get some of that Harry Cunningham ball, and he's under 10K. Your man, Aliir, you can play him in the back line, Smatho. If he has got that second ruck roll, that gives him a bit of a boost. 8,800, that's all right. Ridley's still cheap. Mick Hurley, whenever he's about 11,000, he's pretty solid at that price, I think, especially if Franklin doesn't play. If Franklin plays, I think last year Hurley shut him down, but he only had 30 odd himself. Much prefer to play him if Franklin's not there.
Okay. Good advice. Good advice. Monitor teams. And yeah, make sure you check out the resources in our articles, the previews on our DFR website. Now, let's talk about the mids. I really want to pay up for players in the mids this week because obviously it's not great fantasy scoring teams, these two, so we might have to pay up here. Loving Kennedy's season is almost a cash lock for me. You can guarantee almost 90 to 120 regardless. George Hilt is coming on strong. He had 34 posies last week and 6 tackles, and I looked through the resources of the team scoring. I saw that, yeah, Hewitt's got a lot of tackles in the last 4 weeks, so that's a nice good floor there, around 10K I saw there. Also, a little sneaky, I wouldn't mind a bit of a Zacharakis bounce back after his woeful numbers last week. Do you like these three, or is there something else I could look at?
I'm worried about Zacharakis. He looked pretty lame to me, but they've 8-day break going into a Friday night game. That's pretty rare. Maybe he's going to come good, Zacharakis. Price is down. Ownership, I assume, will be down. Probably worth a flyer. I don't want to get too stuck in, though, in case he's still carrying that little injury he's been dealing with. I'm not getting sucked into George Hewitt after last week's Smatho. He was suited down to the ground in that dirty, wet game up at the Gabba. I will concede like he had 2 80s before that game, which is fair enough at 10,000. So, yeah, I'm not expecting a ton from him, but sort of 80 at 10K, that's not too bad if he pulls that out again. And Kennedy, he was suited in that wet game as well last week, back on a dry deck. Bombers are very fast. That's the type of game that can catch JK out a bit, maybe more around the 100 mark rather than that 120. But like you say, it's hard to look away in cash games at that price, I guess.
Nice to say you 100% agree with those 3 takes there, didn't you, Hev?
Sort of.
Wasn't liking what I'm hearing there.
I'm feeling a bit underdressed. I didn't get the memo that we're all sort of suiting up for tonight's show, so maybe just give me the heads up next week, and we'll be on the same page. Let's look at Essendon's mids. Everyone loves Zach Merritt. Everyone loves him even more now. He's come out with some gender equality statement today, and
did he?
They're all on board Zach Merritt. I don't know whether that transfers to his ownership or not, but he's always highly owned, Merritt. Dylan Shield, everyone's on board. What's happened to Dylan Shield this year? He always had that sort of 95 average at GWS, and now he's like pumping big 120s and 130s. Can't kick, but that doesn't matter.
No, you can't kick. That's why he handballs.
Hewitt might go to one of them, you reckon?
Yeah,
that would actually help Hewitt's ceiling as well if he's going to tag. I would have played some Dyson Heppel, who's not my favourite player. Heppel, nothing against him, but I don't really like any of the Essendon players. But he's only 14,000 Heppel. If all the ownership goes to Shield and goes to Merritt, then there's not going to be that many people playing Heppel. You can throw in an 80 or 90 that sort of hurts you a bit, but he does have the 120, 130, 140, that type of score in him at that price. He's a pretty good tournament player, I think, Heppel, for that reason. The Swans midfield, that doesn't really grab me at all. Blokes like Jones and Papley have been value in the past, but their prices are getting up there a bit. What about Luke Parker? What's happened to him? He was the best player in the comp about 3 years ago, and now he's looking at him in 13K and you don't even really want to play him. What's happened there, Smatho?
Look, I think he's just trying to be a player that utility, I suppose. If he needs up forward, he's up forward, and if he's need in the middle, and if he need on the wing, he's on the wing. And you just don't know what you're going to get every week from Parker. You know, he's always great for first goal scorer. Though he's always a big odds, so you never know. He always pops up for first goal scorer, but you just can't rely on him. So, yep. GPP, fine. But if I'm making a little 6-man or head-to-head, I'm going to stay away from Parker. Yeah. Now, in my little notes here about the forwards, I've only got one player only, and that's the package, Jake Stringer. Lock him in, Heft. What do you reckon? I don't care about the rest of the other forwards. There's not going to be many points scored. Just Jake Stringer for the win. Wow. Tell me that's good. Tell me.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it's bad. I've said that too much already tonight. Not as bad as that cycling get up you wore the other week. I'm going to look at Bombers forwards. So String is one of them. Orazio, do you reckon he'll play this week, or they just pull him out again?
Oh, he'll fly and he'll pull out. No, he should play.
Joey, I'm big on the Bombers, so by extension, I think those most of them are little forwards. Orazio and Tipper. Do you see those Tipper stats? 20 goals in the wins and no goals in the losses. Now, does that mean he's a barometer or is a downhill skier?
Oh, that's a skier for sure.
For sure. But I'm on the Bombers, so I'm going to go with Tipper to have a good game. He's pretty cheap, Tipper. Your mate Dev Smith, he's getting a bit cheaper. He's starting to get into sort of a playable price range now, even if he's spending a bit more time forward. If I'm looking at Swans forwards, the Heaney, 12K, you just drive you insane because you think that's too cheap, but the times he really goes big, it doesn't really happen. Papley, I like those Swans guys that get through the middle. I don't want to be playing the deep forwards against Essendon because I do rate their backline.
Bombers forwards, yeah, because the way it's getting set up, this particular narrative for the matchup, you think an Essendon's going to be a win, and you think, well, how much? And my sneaky is 40 plus on the Bombers at 450 tomorrow. That's my first more sneaky of the bet. So, look, not a great matchup, but let's just move on to Saturday and look at the big cash here on the Saturday slate. Big 5 games. Draftstars, a big 40K. Moneyball with a 5K contest. Bulldogs, Lions at Mars. Blues and Magpies at the G. Suns and Demons in the Sunday session Stephen May Cup at Metricon. Saints and Eagles at Marvel and Ports and the Crows in the showdown at Adelaide Oval. Looking at doing my research again on the resources of the DFR website shows that, hey, we need to look at targeting the Suns game and the Blues game because they are leaking so many points. Sure, the showdown is kind of a good game as well to keep an eye on because there's been some injuries down at Port and good kind of stacks for Ben Contrarian as well. So let's just run to the rucks, mids, defense and forwards for us. For the viewers tonight, have rucks. Now, rucks are really good this week. Witts versus Gawn. Holler for a Marshall playing whoever's playing for the Eagles. It's a bit of a rotating down there, the Eagles. Old Timmy English playing old Martin and the Big O, who finally gets ruck status. Windscreens O'Brien versus Ryder Lysette Commel and the old Cruise up against a big Grundy. Geez, it's going to be tough to pick ownership, even to pick a ruck that you're going to be comfortable with here. Guide us through what we're looking at rucks here on Saturday.
Well, if you can't get comfortable picking Grundy against Carlton, then you're forever living life looking over your shoulder, I reckon.
Oh, but he's 16K, Hef.
Get under 16, I think. He's 15, high 15s. Like Carlton have just been leaking all year to rucks. You got the best ruck in the comp going up against them. It seems a pretty good place to lock him in. If you're going to try and spend a little bit less in the rucks, if Nathan Vardy's sole rucking against Marshall, another sort of makeshift ruckman like he is, 7K is really cheap, even though I'm not a huge rap for Vardy, but a sole ruck at 7K, it's very hard to pass up. Maybe a bounce-back game for Lysett going up against O'Brien. Grundy pulled his pants down, Lysett. He had a total shocker Friday night, and they used Paddy Ryder in the ruck a lot more because he was actually able to provide some sort of contest with his leap. A bit worried that Lysett would be in the knockout. So he's a pretty angry man, Lysett. I reckon he'd be pretty disappointed with last week, and he might come out firing in the showdown. So he's around 9K. Bounce back spot for him, I think.
Excellent. All right. Good luck with selecting a ruck here. I do like the Grundy play, but I just think he's just a little bit too much expensive for paying a ruck, considering you've got great options just underneath him. Let's look at the defense. Little resources just starting to take shape now. Obviously, you've got the season-long bars, and now you've got the last 5. And look at the last 5. The Saints are leaking so many points down to the backs. Obviously, a key target there in that particular matchup with West Coast playing them. So we've got Martin who's a bit dirt cheap, and then we've got Shannon Hearn who's, very, very solid there. Also, the injuries I touched about at Port. do we look at the Smith-Laird combo or maybe Burn-Jones and Burton as well? So there's a bit of combos there. Or very, very contrarian is that Bulldogs and the Lions just giving a very stingy the backs. They're going to be cheap, but you might have to plug them in if you want to get some studs in. Before I go on and give you your four, Tef, I want to put up on the screen my next and final sneaky bet for the night. Shannon Hearn on Best Easy, $2.15 versus Caleb Daniel on Bet Easy there. I reckon it's pretty good. Pretty good. Hef, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, they kept Lloyd under 100, Brisbane. They did have torrential rain to sort of help them out with that. But, yeah, Hearn has got that 120 upside this year, doesn't he? And if you're happy with those Saints numbers, giving up all the points to the backs, yeah, that's a pretty big difference. You know, it's not often they have the big differential like that in the head-to-head. So you're the man with the winning tips. You tipped us both in the showdown. Why not follow you in again?
No, we'll see how we go. Just a little sneaky. Nothing to blow the trumpet over, but yeah. Hef, let's talk about Marston. He burned a lot last week. We're going to get a little redemption game when everyone's jumped off him.
I don't know. If you played Marston last week, you've got to cop that on the chin because he's looked really bad this year. I don't even know how he's still in the team. Marston, they got all this talk about Sheed not getting much of a go when Gaff comes back. Like, just get rid of Marston, let those blokes work the wings. Talking of redemption, this is probably a bit of a dirty play. Tom Williamson was pretty highly owned on Sunday. He was only 5K, and he let everyone down. He only got about 33 or something like that. So I expect a lot of people to jump off Tom Williamson. But the reason he was 20-something percent, he does have the ability to score 70 points, Tom Williamson. And if he does that at 5K, that's a great score. I like playing these guys that are really highly owned and disappoint everyone. I like going again on them next week. You know the dramas I had with Piers Hanley all through the start of the season.
Yes.
Williamson's probably the next one for me to go down swinging on. I don't really like the matchup against the Pies, but if you are going to play someone against the Pies, it's probably going to be someone in the back line. Maybe you could link him up with Daisy Thomas, who's with Simpson not there, Newman not there. They need some people to chip the ball around if they're going to try and avoid getting beat by 100 points. So 5K Tom Williamson, that's my value playing the backs. Looking at Hearn and Shepherd from the Eagles, who are both going really well this year and had that great matchup. But do you really want to spend 13 and 12,000 on your defenders, or do you want to spend your money in the midfield on this 5-game slate? I'm leaning the midfield.
Okay. Fair enough. Good call. Well, let's talk about the midfield then, because that's where we're going to spend our money. Obviously, the key is the Pies-Carlton matchup. We can put another Pie stack in, but it's going to cost you a mint. Treloar at 16-1. Pendles is now 15,000 after hovering that 12, 13, 14 all year. The other game that we could potentially look at is the Demons and Suns matchup. Now, if you look at the Demons mids, Brayshaw, Oliver, Harms, they're all around that 14K. So they're in a smash spot here, Hef. What do you reckon? Might be a little bit chalky, but I'm really loving these D. It could be the Ds instead over the Pies for mids.
Yeah, well, we saw the 140s from Yo and Gaff against Gold Coast last week, and 14K, Oliver and Brayshaw, they've got huge ceilings. Harms not so much, but he can still turn up, obviously. They're going to be popular. Pies are obviously always popular. If we're looking to pivot, there's no Wines. I don't think there's any EBIT for Port Adelaide, so maybe we can have a look there. So Rockcliffe is down to 13K.
Oh, is he?
We know he's got the huge ceiling, Rockcliffe. Obviously, Boak's going to be living in the guts again, 15,000. He's a great player as well. But then Carl Eamon's still only 6,000. Now, he's a bit of the Chris Marston school of football ability, Carl Eamon, but he did get 60 against the Pies last week, and you'd expect Adelaide to be a bit of a softer matchup. So at the $6,000 mark, he's a great cheap play. Pepe, Pau Pepper, he's 10,000. You'd think he's going to get more mid-time with Wines not in the team. And Willem Drew's the other one at 9,000. He gets, when Wines was not there at the start of the year, he got a heap of time at the centre bounces. So I think there's a heap of value there with the Port midfield. And if you're trying to get away from the obvious Pies D stacks, then Port Adelaide's the team I would be looking at.
Excellent. I like it. But I have to go back to the Pies, the Fords again. They've got the 45.5 line over Carlton, so you expect at least 110, 120 point performance in total score for Pie mids. So we've got Elliott, we've got old Stephenson, we've got DeGoey again, reasonably priced, not super high. I'll be shocked if they don't get all plus 85. Can I go to them, or should I just, again, look at somewhere else?
Oh, yeah, you can go with them for sure. Last week I played Hoskin Elliott over Jaden Stevenson in my team. Disastrous is an understatement. I was probably finishing my tea. I looked up about 10 minutes in and Stevenson's on about 50 already. I said, I'll shut this down and start building teams for tomorrow. My view is that Stevenson plays basically full forward for the Pies, and Hoskin Elliott was getting a lot more time up on the wings on Anzac Day. And I thought maybe that'll translate to more ball against Port Adelaide, and then Stevenson was just kicking goals from everywhere. And Burn Jones, he was all at sea trying to go with him. As I said before, I tend to die on these opinions for a few weeks. So Hoskin Elliott missed out. He's still going to be around that $8,000 mark. Stevenson's up to about 11. Obviously, the obvious guys from last week for the Pies, Elliott, Stevenson, DeGoey, they're all good plays. But Hoskin Elliott, I'm going to give him another go. He's my sneaky forward option for Saturday.
Excellent. I like it. Big Saturday slate. Good luck to all the community who'll be putting teams on the Saturday. And also, just make sure you check out our little slate previews and the resources on the DFR website before you put your teams in. All right, let's go through the Sunday slate. 3 games there. Kangaroos, Cats at Marvel, Hawks and Giants at the G, and the wonderful tasty matchup, the Dockers versus the Tigers at Optus Stadium in the late game. $30,000 on Draftstars, $4,000 on Moneyball, up for grabs. Couple of notes here. We won't go into too much detail, but the first thing I want to talk about is Gary Ablett going to troll the AFL world against the Kangaroos. Are you going to get a little rest? What's yes or no, Hef?
It'd be funny. He should have got off. I can't even cited him for that. There's nothing in it.
Yeah.
No. He's going too well, but what's he need a rest for? He's flying.
He is flying, but it has been earmarked by Coach Scott that he's going to rest these players throughout the year. Not sure about Danger's injury outlook, so we have to monitor that. But one particular person who might benefit from either a Danger or an Ablett out is Sam Menegola. He actually tore it up in the second half last week, caught my eye, looked at his salary, wished I had him in my team. This week, he's around that 12-13 again. Monitor. Also monitoring is David Mundy. Only coming in at 13.2, and he's on the resources page on DFR. We've got him projected around the ton, just exceptional value at 13.2. What do you reckon, Hef?
I sort of agree with you on Menegola. I don't think Dangerfield will play. They're talking sort of minor medial ligament damage. Like, why would you play him? No doubt he'll string it all out until late in the week. That's what he does, Dramafield. I just look at this slate. Freo's at home against the Tigers, who just give up millions of points. We know Freo can fill up at home. You get the added bonus of just rushing home in the last game of the slate. There's nothing better than when all your blokes are going berserk in that last quarter and you're flying up the leaderboard. It means nothing for how many points you actually score, but in terms of entertainment value, it's sensational. So all those little purple people eaters running around, chipping the ball around, there's nothing better. So load up Freo, get some GWS backs, get some forwards from Geelong, throw Stanley or Goldie into the rucks, and there you go. You've won on Sunday. You hit it now.
Bang. Bang.
Easy game.
Easy game, DFS, isn't it, Hef? I'm not going to bother to question your ability since you are a champion of the game. Now, is that about it, Hef, for this evening? Or hang on, we've got the avocado in the ear, Hef. He's banging on about some sort of final that.
You've been keeping these details to yourself, Smatho. I've been trying to get don't give me anything. You've got to tell us about the live final. Give us something.
All right, what do you want to know, Hef? Tell me what you want to know about this live final that Draftstars are going to put up. Coming soon in 2019. What do you want to know?
When's it going to be? Tell us.
Okay, I can tell you when. I know those details. So get a little pencil out, get your phone out, put an alarm on it. Sunday, the 11th of August is the Draftstars live final. What else do you want to
know? Sunday, what are we getting? Is it one game, 3 games? What are we dealing with?
Okay, so it's a single game slate for the twilight game at 4:40 p.m. And for those who are on the AFL fixture, that is the clash between the Adelaide Crows and the West Coast Eagles. 4:40 p.m. Beautiful little single slate there. Nice late in the day as well, so some festivities beforehand, which would be quite nice there on the Sunday. What else? I've got some more info. Tease it out for me. Come on, tease it out. Come on. What do you what do you want to know?
How much? What are we playing for? What's on offer?
All right, I can reveal that the total prize pool for the live final will be 200,000 Australian dollars for the final. Dramatic increase from the 150 from the BBL. We've got 200,000 large for the final itself. Nice. I can also reveal to you, Hef, all right? Yep. Well, I don't have the Pacific figures, okay? The top 10 severely weighted for cash payouts.
Oh, we don't have the big top 3.
Not top 3.
No.
We've got to reward the guys who've come forth. Mr. Nova, old Frenchie there, he'll be loving this day. The top 10 will be in the significant amounts of cash, okay? Now, That's all I've got. That's all I'm going to reveal tonight because we've got all the exclusive information on the Daily Fantasy Rankings website.
There's more.
Thursday morning, there'll be more info. I wanted to tell you guys tonight, 200K on the 11th of August, Adelaide West Coast at 4:30. Tomorrow we'll run through on the website how you're going to get involved in the Draftstars AFL Live Final. Hef, just a quick reflection on
the Big Bash. The Big Bash Live Final is one of the best things I've ever been to. So to say I'm eagerly awaiting this live final for AFL is an understatement. I like the sound of that top 10, but to be honest, the whole experience, even not making sort of into any decent money at all last time, it didn't matter because it was just one of the best days you'd ever imagine. I assume there's going to be more people going for that bigger prize pool. I am very excited. I don't even know all the details yet, so I can't wait to get into these qualifiers and get my ticket as soon as possible because if there's one event you want to go to all year, surely this is it.
Now, for tips, resources, suggestions, make sure you hit up us on our Twitter handles at RankingsDFS, at Schmaffo10, at TM Heffernan. We'll guide you through what's going to be happening with the AFL Live Final. Any other news we want to quickly touch on, Hef? Big show this evening. I've been sitting on that news all night. I'm kind of relieved it's actually out and about in the public now. Anything else for the kind viewers this evening?
I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to go to sleep because then it's like Christmas. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be less time that I'm waiting to hear all this live final details. That's all I want to know about is the live final. So hopefully, with a bit of luck, we might win some money to pour into the qualifiers this weekend if Whiz Bang lets us.
Very good, Hef. I might save my 2 log coins now for these qualifiers. I might try and get myself an entry. Thanks. Look, ladies and gents, thank you for the return of the DFR Down Under show for another week. As I said, make sure you check out our dailyfantasyrankings.com.au website. Good other sports going on as well. So, and obviously the big podcast next week. I can't fail to say it again. The big podcast with JK for the PGA Tour Championship next week, folks. We'll leave it there. Good luck for the weekend, and we'll all see you on the leaderboards. Thanks again, Hef.
Thanks, Smatho. See you next week.
See you next week. Cheers, mate.